Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Council's meeting of Tuesday, the 15th of December 2020. My apologies for the brief delay we've had with IT problems. My name is Councillor Bill Lewis, Mayor of Rugby, and I'm the chairman of the meeting. The meeting is being web streamed to the public and is being attended by members through Microsoft Teams. Before we begin working through the agenda, I will go through some rules on procedure. The web streaming of this meeting is being monitored by IT services. If at any point there are any streaming issues, then I will be informed and the meeting will be adjourned until such time that the technological issues can be resolved. If during the course of the meeting any member is having connection issues, then there will be a short adjournment of up to 5 minutes to determine whether the connection issues can be resolved. If following the adjournment, the connection issues cannot be resolved, then providing the meeting remains quorate, it will continue. It will be deemed that the member with connection issues has left the meeting and will no longer be able to participate. If a member wishes to leave the meeting for any other reason, they should indicate they wish to speak using the raise hands function and inform me when they are so invited. For all attendees, if you have not already done so, please would you switch off your microphones and cameras now. For members, your microphones and cameras should be switched off unless you are speaking. If you wish to speak during the meeting, please use the raise hand function and wait for me to ask you to speak. The voting during virtual meetings will use the raise hand function. The Democratic Services Officer will confirm the vote. Are there any questions before we move into the formal agenda? No, okay, thank you. I will now ask the Democratic Services Officer to confirm the attendees at this meeting. This will be for council members only. When your name is called out, please confirm your attendance verbally by saying present. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Mrs. Alanak.
Present.
Councillor Mrs. Abarrow.
Present.
Councillor Byrne.
Present.
Councillor Brader.
Present.
Councillor Mrs. Bragg.
Present.
Councillor Mrs. Brown.
Present.
Councillor Kieran Brown.
Present.
Councillor Butlin.
Present.
Councillor Cade.
Present.
Councillor Mrs. Crane.
Present.
Councillor Cranham.
Present.
Councillor Douglas.
Present.
Councillor Miss Dumbleton.
Present.
Councillor Eccleston.
Present.
Councillor Ellis.
Present.
Councillor Mrs. Garcia.
Present.
Councillor Gillias.
Present.
Councillor Keeling.
Present.
Councillor Miss Lawrence.
Present.
Councillor Lewis.
Present.
Councillor Lowe.
Present.
Councillor Mahoney.
Present.
Councillor McQueen.
Present.
Councillor Mistry.
Present.
Councillor Mrs. New.
Present.
Councillor Mrs. O'Rourke.
Present.
Councillor Pacey Day.
Mute.
I can see Councillor Pacey Day is on the list of participants, so I'll come back to him. Councillor Mrs. Parker.
Present.
Councillor Picker.
Present.
Councillor Poole.
Present.
Councillor Ms. Robbins.
Present.
Councillor Mrs. Roberts.
Present.
Councillor Howard Roberts.
Present.
Councillor Jerry Roodhouse.
Present.
Councillor Mrs. Roodhouse.
Present.
Councillor Sanderson.
Present.
Councillor Shearer. again, Councillor Shearer is listed on the list of participants, so we can go back to him if necessary. Councillor
Thank you.
Mrs Simpson-Vince.
Present.
Councillor Srivastava.
Present.
Councillor Mrs
I'm
Timms.
present.
Present.
James Shearer is present.
Thank you, Councillor Shearer. Can I just confirm if Councillor Pacey Day is present?
Yes,
please?
present. Yes, present.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr Mayor. So that's 40 councillors present.
Sorry, 40, did you say?
40, yes.
Thank you, thank you, everybody. All right, we'll now move into the formal agenda. And we start off with item number 1, which is apologies for absence. Are there any apologies, Executive Director?
Evening, Mr Mayor. We have apologies from councillors Lee Hunt and Stokes.
Thank you very much. We move on to item 2, to approve the minutes of the meeting of council held on the 26th of November 2020. I move that the minutes of the meeting of the council held on the 26th of November 2020 be approved and adopted. Who will second the motion?
I will, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Those in favour, please show using the raise hands function. And please keep your hands up until I ask you to lower them. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, just to bring to your attention, the leader of the council is having connection issues, so has had to dial into the meeting. So he can participate in the meeting, but he can't raise his hand. So my suggestion would be that his vote is taken via a verbal vote rather than the raising of the hand.
Right, well, when we've got all the hands, the number of all the hands up, we'll ask for that vote as well.
So it was 36 for, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Lowe, do you wish to vote verbally?
Yes, Mr Mayor, I vote for.
Thank you. So that's 37. Can you confirm that, Claire? That makes 37.
We've actually only got 35 raised hands at the moment.
35.
Yes.
So that makes 36 altogether.
Yeah, we now have 36, so that's 37 in total.
Would you all lower your hands now then, please? I think they've all been lowered now. I'll go on to the next. Those against, please show using the raised hands function.
There are no hands raised, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. So we're still 3 votes short. In that case, I'll go on and ask those who wish to abstain, please show by raised hands.
There are none, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. The motion is carried. I'll move on to item 3, declarations of interest. Can I remind members that when they declare interest, they must also declare the general nature of that interest. Are there any declarations under A, non-pecuniary interest, as defined by the Council's Code of Conduct for councillors? Please show using your raise hand function.
There are no hands raised, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Item B, pecuniary interest as defined by the Council's Code of Conduct for Councillors. Please show using the raise hand function.
Again, no hands raised, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Item C, notice under Section 106, Local Government Finance Act 1992, non-payment of community charge or council tax. Please show using your raise hand function.
There are no hands raised, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Claire. In that case, we move on to item 4, which is Mayor's announcements. I've got 3 announcements to make this evening, so I hope you're sitting comfortably. First of all, with regard to the COVID update, at this, our last council meeting of the year, I find myself once again asking all members and residents to continue to observe social distancing and good hand hygiene in order to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. Hands, face, space works, and we must all keep it at it all of the time. As we approach Christmas, we look forward to new freedoms to meet friends and family, provided we comply with the Christmas bubble restrictions. Let us not forget, however, that the vast majority of exposures occur in the house, amongst the very friends and family we plan to meet. To keep each other safe, we must continue to remember hands, face, space, even within our own homes. And when hosting guests, we need to keep our homes well ventilated too. Come the new year, we're looking forward to setting up a lateral flow testing site with our colleagues in public health. This will help to identify otherwise undetected infections, helping us reduce the spread of the virus. And of course, we will continue to work with health colleagues to roll out the various vaccines as they are approved. There is promise that 2021 will be better than 2020. Let's do everything we can to protect one another until this pandemic has passed. And thank you to Matthew for that update, and to everyone else involved in keeping members up to date with latest pandemic information. The second item is with regard to the UK Housing Awards. The Council was shortlisted as a finalist for the Council of the Year award at the UK Housing Awards 2020, which I was grateful to be able to attend virtually on behalf of the borough with others earlier this month. The awards celebrate excellence in the housing sector. The Council was shortlisted for its work on the regeneration projects at Byatt Place and Rounds Gardens. The judging panel recognised that from the start of the project, the safety and welfare of our tenants had guided our decision making and the way that we supported tenants. Overall, it had been a great team effort, both across the Council and externally with our partners. To make it to the finals was a great achievement and also a fantastic opportunity to highlight our fast-growing expertise in regeneration. We should be very proud. I thank all officers and members who have been involved in the projects. Third item is about the Civic Christmas card. Last year, some of the Civic Christmas cards were posted as printed cards, and for the first time, a small number sent out as electronic version. This year, almost all the cards are electronic, with a very few being printed. That has distinct advantages during the present restrictions, and I'm told environmental advantages too. It's very unusual, or perhaps even unique, that the Mayor of Rugby has a second opportunity to prepare the Civic Christmas card. This year I included the 3 mayoral charities in the design of the card. There is an explanation on the card and in message accompanying the card of how that was done, which you have all received by now or should have. I'm very grateful to all the members of Rugby Dementia Support Rugby Autism Network and New Directions Rugby for their contributions to the card. There's been considerable input also from members of our communications unit and the Mayor's Secretary, plus the print and post rooms. The Mayor and I thank all for their assistance. That ends the Mayor's announcements. We'll move on to item 5, questions pursuant to Standing Order 10. Are there any questions, Executive Director?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have one question this evening, and it's from Councillor Douglas to the Growth and Investment Portfolio holder, Councillor Mrs Simpson Vince. Following the announced plans for a major regeneration of the town centre with the development of an ambitious new strategic master plan, can the portfolio holder outline what initial plans Rugby Borough Council has to promote and maximise tourism to support the local economy? And the answer has been published on our website, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Yes, quite a long answer. Quite full. Councillor Douglas, do you have a supplementary question?
Good evening. Yes, I do. If possible, please, Mr. Mayor. I thank the portfolio holder for the response. I welcome and I'm encouraged by the range of initiatives, as well as the planned and ongoing online and offline activity relating to tourism. On one specific area, can the portfolio holder confirm that the World Rugby Hall of Fame will continue to be a prominent feature in the town centre? Thank you.
Councillor Simpson Vince, would you like to answer that?
Yes, thank you. Yes, that discussions are currently underway with World Rugby as the contract is shortly coming up for renewal. So at the moment, we have no plans to move it from where it is.
Thank you. In that case, we'll move on to item 6A, to receive the report of Cabinet dated the 7th of December 2020. In submitting the report of Cabinet, I shall call each paragraph number and heading. If members wish to raise questions or to comment, will they please indicate they wish to do so using a raise hand function when I call the item. I will be calling the paragraphs according to the portfolios under which they fall. So, report Cabinet 7th of December 2020. Councillor Mrs Crane, will you move the confirmation and adoption of item 1 of the report of Cabinet of the 7th of December 2020?
I so move.
Thank you. Paragraph 1, Council Tax Reduction Scheme 2021-22. Would you like to present the report, Mrs Crane? Councillor Mrs Crane.
Yes, Mr Mayor, thank you. I move the report as written. It's to adopt a local council tax reduction scheme.
Okay. Are there any speakers? I don't see any hands raised.
No, Mr Mayor, there are no hands raised.
Thank you. In that case, I now submit for confirmation and adoption the whole of the report. Those in favour, please show using the raise hands function.
That's 37, Mr Mayor, and obviously we'll have to take Councillor Lowe's vote verbally.
Did you get
Sorry.
2 extra?
Yes, sorry, we're now up to 39.
39. Okay, in that case, Councillor Lowe, would you like to vote on this verbally, please?
Mr Mayor, I would, and I'm happy to vote in favour.
Thank you.
So that's unanimous, Mr Mayor.
It's unanimous. Yes, thank you for that then. In which case, the motion is carried. We move on to item B, to receive the report of Audit and Ethics Committee dated the 10th of November 2020. Councillor Lowe, will you move the confirmation and adoption of item 1 of the report of Audit and Ethics Committee, 10th of November 2020?
Mr. Mayor, I so move.
Thank you. Paragraph 1, Statement of Accounts 2013-20. Would you like to present the report, Councillor Lowe?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to thank the officers who were involved in the production of this report. I'd like to move the report as written.
Thank you. Are there any speakers?
There are no hands raised, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Claire. In that case, I now submit for confirmation and adoption the whole of the report. Those in favour, please show using the raise hands function.
That's 38 for Mr.
38.
Mayor. Now 39, Mr. Mayor.
Right, thank you. Councillor Lowe, would you like to vote on this matter, please?
Yes, please, Mr. Mayor. I vote in favour of this matter.
Right, excellent. Thank you very much indeed. So that's unanimous then, Claire.
Yes, correct, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, in that case, the motion is carried. We move on to item 7, to receive and consider the reports of officers. The next item is to receive the report of the Head of Communities and Homes set out at item 7A of the agenda. The report concerns proposed information, guidance and agile working policies for the Council. Councillor Lowe, will you, as Leader of the Council, move the report of the Head of Communities and Homes?
Mr. Mayor, I so move.
Thank you. Who will second the motion?
I'll second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Poole. Would you like to present the report, Councillor Lowe?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to welcome this report as yet another example of us moving the way in which this authority works into the 21st century. I'd like to highlight that a move to agile working is not only beneficial to our workforce, but is also beneficial to the taxpayer, as it will enable this council to deliver its services more efficiently and more cost effectively. And I therefore move the report as written.
Thank you. Are there any speakers?
There are no speakers, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Poole, do you wish to say anything further?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The leader said it all. Thank you.
Thank you. In that case, we'll go to the vote. Those in favour, please show using the raise hands function.
That's 37, Mr. Mayor.
37. All right. Councillor Lowe, do you wish to vote on this, I imagine?
Yes, please, Mr. Mayor, and I would like to vote in favour.
Thank you. So that, can I confirm to you, Claire, that makes 38?
Yes, that made 38, Mr. Mayor. There are some councillors putting their hands down, perhaps a little prematurely.
Yes, I haven't actually put down yet, have I? But you've got 38.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Would you lower your hands now then, please? I'll try and remember to lower mine as well, Claire. Still one to come down, I think. That's it. I think that's clear. So those against, please show using the raise hands function.
There are none, Mr Mayor.
So we're still too short. So can
Yes,
I ask those?
yes.
So can I ask those who wish to abstain to show with the raise hands function?
There are none, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. In that case, the motion is carried. We move on to the next item. To receive the report of the Deputy Executive Director set out at item 7B of the agenda. The report concerns the Council's proposed statement of licensing policy for 2021-2026. Councillor Roberts, will you move the report of the Deputy Executive Director?
I so move to the report. This has come about because of the Licensing Act 2003.
Can I just ask Councillor Roberts, who will second the motion before you go on and explain it?
I'll second the motion, Mr Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, Councillor Roberts, sorry to interrupt you. Carry on.
No, that was all right. Our current licensing stops on the 7th of January next year. So we started producing a new policy, and consultation was done between October and November with relevant people affected by the policy. I put it towards the council as read and wish their support.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any speakers?
There are no speakers, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Poole, do you wish to say anything?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
All right, thank you very much. In that case, I'll put it to the vote. Those in favour, please show using the raise hands function. And keep your hands up, please, until I ask you to lower them.
That's 38, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Please lower your hands now. Oh, sorry, Councillor Lowe, do you wish to vote on this motion?
Yes, please, Mr Mayor. I vote in favour.
Thank you. That makes 39, Claire?
Yes, that's correct, Mr Mayor.
Right, thank you. Hands have been lowered. So I will ask, just in case, is there anyone wishing to abstain?
No abstentions, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, in which case the motion is carried. We move on to the next item, which is to receive the additional report of the Executive Director, which has been circulated to all members and published in the Council's website. The report concerns the two emergency decisions taken under delegated powers in October and December. Councillor Lowe, will you move the report of the Executive Director?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I so move.
Thank you. Who will second the motion?
I will, Mr Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Lowe, would you like to present the report?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Very briefly and simply, I would like to say that this council has used its emergency powers very sparingly in comparison to many other local authorities. And we are extremely confident that the very rare instances in which we have used these powers will stand up to the highest level of scrutiny. As detailed in this report, on both occasions when the emergency powers were used, this was to provide much needed emergency relief to Rugby residents and businesses. And I'm certain that those residents and businesses who were in need would not have thanked this council for waiting. And it was therefore entirely proportionate to use the powers in this way. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any speakers? Please show using the raise hand function.
There are no speakers, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Poole, do you have anything to add?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. In which case, I'll put it to the vote. Those in favour, please show using the raise hands function, and please keep them up until I ask you to lower them.
That's 38, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Councillor Lowe, do you wish to vote on this?
Yes,
motion?
please, Mr. Mayor. I vote in favour.
Thank you. That makes 39 in favour. Right, would you all lower your hands now, please? Yeah, they're all lowered. Those against, please show using the raise hand function.
There are none, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Those wishing to abstain, please show using the raise hands function.
There are none, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. In which case the motion is carried. Move on to item 8. Notices of motion pursuant to Standing Order 11. Set out at item 8 of the agenda is one notice of motion. I consider it advisable and convenient to deal with this tonight at this meeting. Councillor Sanderson, will you please move the motion set out in item 8A of the agenda, notice of which has been given under Standing Order 11.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move the motion.
Who will second the motion?
I will, Mr. Mayor, and reserve my right to speak.
Thank you, Councillor McQueen. Would you like to present your motion, Councillor Sanderson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The motion in itself is pretty explanatory. It's to celebrate the 800th anniversary of the establishment of a church on the St Andrew's site. There had been one there before, which was a small chapel, basically in 1140, which basically stands on the site of the clock tower. But the present church has been there since 1221. It is recognised as one of the major churches of England, and it's had a 45, I count up to now, rectors of Rugby, a number with quite important roles in this country. In the earlier years, well, you got to be the rector of Rugby largely at the largesse of the Lord of the Manor. But in more recent years, certainly with the tenure of John Moultrie, Rugby's taken a much more, the rectors of Rugby are taking a more outward looking stance. And clearly John Moultrie was very much involved in establishing the design of the current church, which was done by Mr. Butterfield. That work was very much completed almost single-handed by Mr. Murray, who followed on from the rector. Clearly, with this anniversary, the church wanted to recognise it was moving on to a new chapter, which is why they've made application to the Bishop of Coventry for Minster status. Minster status basically means it's recognised as a large church of significant value to both the community, its local economy and culture. And certainly our experience with the rectors that have gone since John Moultrie is that that is in fact the case. So what we're asking in the motion is that perhaps Mr. Mayor, who I believe has met the Bishop of Coventry, whose diocese we lie, to write to him, perhaps countersigned by the group leaders. I'm not too worried about that. In order to support their bid to become a minster, put it alongside some of those very important major churches in England.
Thank you, Councillor Sanderson. Have we got any speakers?
Mr. Mayor, could I speak briefly on this?
We've got one hand up, but can I come to you second? Councillor Gillius has his hand up first, and then we'll take Councillor Lowe.
Yeah, just one or two little facts, Mr. Mayor, is that you know, the Victorian section of the building was actually built by one of the prominent builders in Rugby, Parnells of Rugby, which built the Temple Speech Rooms and the old original St Cross Hospital. But as a church bell ringer for, well over half a century now, if anybody's watching this who's actually a bell ringer from belongs to the guild of the local diocese, they'd just like a couple of words corrected as the description of the bells. Bells are referred to as rings of bells and not sets of bells. So I'm hoping Mr. Sanderson, Councillor Sanderson, will accept that.
I'm quite happy with that amendment, Tony.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Councillor Lowe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would simply like to offer Councillor Sanderson my support on this matter. I think it's a very sensible motion to put before this council, and one with which I wholeheartedly agree, and I will be voting for it this evening.
Okay, I'd also like to add that I'm in favour of this, and I'm quite willing to sign any letter that needs to be sent off. I have in fact visited the bell tower and got right up to the top. It's quite an interesting journey. That coming down is more difficult than going up. Are there any more speakers? No. Councillor McQueen, do you wish to say anything as a seconder?
Yes, I would. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before we vote on this, I'd like to reflect on what it means for a church to be given the honorific of Minster. Dr. Sentamu, the former Archbishop of Canterbury, Archbishop of York, put it very succinctly. The status of Minster is an honorific title bestowed on major churches of regional significance in the Church of England to reflect their importance and contribution to the local communities they serve. St Andrews is not only one of the most historic and visible buildings in Rugby, it is also one of the most important in terms of community. It anchors the community in the town centre, and I think if we're serious about regenerating the town centre, it's something we really should support. It's open 7 days a week and provides a space for spiritual reflection, meditation, and a meeting point for coffee. It works with charities around the town, such as the Food Bank, Hope For, Gift of Years, the Winter Night Shelter, and many other social action projects. For both the importance of the church historically and its huge contribution to the community in Rugby, I'll be supporting St Andrew's bid to become a Minster, and I'd ask fellow members for their support too. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Can I also add that they hold usually hold the Christmas tree dressing competition for the town, which we sadly had to miss out on this year. However, if there are no more speakers, we'll go to a vote. Those in favour, please show reasonable. I should have asked Councillor Sanderson if he wanted to say anything further.
No, I'm so pleased that so many members wish to support this, and I'm sure giving our weight to their bid will have some value.
Those in favour, please show using the raise hand function.
That's 38 for the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, Councillor Lowe, do you wish to vote verbally?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I vote in favour of the motion.
Thank you. It's 39. Right, could you all lower your hands now, please? I can see still on there. Could you confirm, Claire, that they've cleared?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, all hands have been lowered.
There's one showing up on mine, but okay. In that case, those against, please show using the raise hands function.
There are none, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Those wishing to abstain, please show using the raised hands function.
There are no abstentions, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. In that case, the motion is carried. We move on to item 9, correspondence. Is there any correspondence, Executive Director?
There is none, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Item 10, Common Seal. I move that the Common Seal be affixed to the various the various orders, deeds and documents referred to in item 6 of the agenda paper. Who will second the motion?
I will, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Those in favour, please show using the raised hands function. And please keep them up until I ask you to lower them.
That's 36, Mr. Mayor.
36. All right.
Sorry, go home.
Is anyone having problems? In that case, Councillor Lowe, would you like to vote in this?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I vote in favour.
Thank you. Next 37. Please lower your hands now then, please. I think they're down now. So those against, please show using the raise hands function.
There are none, Mr. Mayor.
Those who wish to abstain, please show using the raise hands function.
There are none, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Claire. In which case the motion is carried. And we move on to item 11, motion to exclude the public under section 100A4 of the Local Government Act 1972. Under section 100A4 of the Local Government Act 1972, the public be excluded from the meeting for the following item on the grounds that they involve the likely disclosure of information defined in paragraph 3 of Schedule 12A of the Act. I so move. Who will second the motion?
I will, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Those in favour, please show using the raised hands function and keep your hands up until I ask you to lower them. Thank you.
That's 37, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Lowe, do you wish to vote in this matter?
Yes, please, Mr. Mayor, I vote in favour.
That's 38 for.
Yes, that's correct, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Could you lower your hands now then, please?
That's all hands lowered, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Claire. Those against, please show using the raise hand function.
There are none, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Claire. Those who wish to abstain, please show using the raise hand function.
There are no abstentions, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Claire. In which case, the motion is carried. That now concludes the public part of the meeting. I'll ask the IT support to stop the live streaming and please confirm back to me when the streaming has ended. Thank you. Thank you.